A strike is averted at San Diego State today as faculty and CSU officials reach a salary agreement, what staff is getting and what they gave up. And San Diego will get some more campaign love next week. GOP presidential candidate Ted Cruz will be in town. We have details coming up.
If you live in the county of San Diego, you know it's a special place. From the beaches.
And we take a look inside an expensive PR campaign paid for with taxpayer dollars. This is Evening Edition on KPBS. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Susan Murphy. Classes at San Diego State and Cal State San Marcos will be in session Monday. Faculty today called off their strike after reaching a deal with the CSU Chancellor's office. KPBS reporter Megan Burks says professors and lecturers will see a significant bump in their paychecks this summer.
The California Faculty Association was ready to walk out of classes if California State University management refused to offer 5% raises. They learned late last night they'd see double that amount by 2017. Management offered 10.5%, with the first 7% going into effect in June and July. Professors and lecturers say they've struggled as the cost of living outpaced their salaries. After a 5-year freeze, they saw minor increases in 2013 and 2014.
Ranging from foreclosures on mortgages to inability to buy houses and to get in, to not being able to pay off student loans. All the things that you don't think are going to happen to you when you get a PhD and a good job at a public university.
The union says its members make on average $45,000 a year. Now that combines full and part-time faculty. CSU Chancellor Timothy White said this morning the system can cover the raises without cutting into programs and enrollment.
To be honest, nobody wanted to strike. The faculty didn't want to strike. I didn't want to strike. This is a very good thing to have averted that interruption. It's also great for students because as we invest in faculty, we invest in students' learning environment and their success.
The deal still must get final approval from the faculty and CSU board. Meanwhile, management will head into another round of negotiations. 4 other unions on CSU campuses have fairness clauses in their contract that say management must renegotiate their terms if other workers get a better deal. White said he can pay for that too. Megan Burks, KPBS News.
A San Diego man who has been in Syrian custody for 4 years is now free. The U.S. State Department says the release of 33-year-old Kevin Patrick Dawes was secured with the help of Czech and Russian officials. Dawes is a freelance photographer and was detained while traveling in Syria in 2012. Officials say the U.S. is continuing to work to get information on the whereabouts of other Americans missing or detained in Syria. The son of a former California Assembly Speaker is set to be released from prison next week after serving just under 6 years for the stabbing death of a Mesa College student. Esteban Nunez was originally sentenced to 16 years. Arnold Schwarzenegger cut that sentence by more than half in one of his last acts as governor. The state corrections department isn't saying when Nunez will be released for security reasons. San Diego has more solar panels than most major American cities. A national survey released today by the nonprofit Environment California ranks San Diego second in the country. San Diego Mayor Kevin Faulconer and a group of environmental leaders celebrated the city's near-top solar ranking at Lindbergh Field, where a new 3-megawatt solar panel system was recently completed. Faulconer says increasing solar energy among households and businesses is helping the city reach its goal of 100% renewable energy by the year 2035.
The new figures that were just released shows that San Diego has increased its solar capacity by 26% over the past year. And it's one of the reasons why our city, for the 3rd year running, has the 2nd highest solar energy installation in the nation. We're proud of that.
Faulconer says the city's solar capacity is enough to power approximately 47,000 homes. The growth of rooftop solar is attributed to plummeting costs, increasing concerns over global warming, and technological innovation. Nicole Capritz is executive director of San Diego's Climate Action Campaign. She says rooftop solar is key to the city's 100% clean energy goal.
What the report shows is that we need to get about 20% of that energy from rooftop solar, and we're at about 1 or 2% today. So we still have a long ways to go, but the good news is we have unlimited potential.
Capritz says with ample rooftop and parking lot space, she expects the region to continue to pave the way in developing solar energy. And Los Angeles topped the list for the most solar power. Third on the list is Phoenix. GOP candidate Ted Cruz is planning a campaign in San Diego on Monday. He was in the state last week, too, in an effort to boost his profile here ahead of the primary in June. The latest field poll shows Cruz trailing Donald Trump in California by 7 points. San Diego's Republican Party has scheduled a rally for him at 6 p.m. in Mission Valley. The event is free, but RSVPs are requested. Meantime, Bernie Sanders will spend part of next week in Vatican City. Sanders was invited to speak at the Pontifical Academy of Social Sciences, an advisory group Pope Francis has appointed to guide him on a wide range of public policy issues. The Vermont senator has long been an admirer of the Pope's stance on wealth inequality and social justice. A Catholic analyst cautions, however, that the invitation should not be seen as an endorsement. Pope Francis was busy with more familiar issues today. Associated Press reporter Robert Bumstead has more on the joy of love.
Pope Francis releasing a major document on sex, marriage, and family life Friday, demanding that the church shift emphasis from doctrine to mercy in confronting some of the thorniest issues facing the faithful. In an exhortation titled The Joy of Love, the pontiff said Catholics should look to their own consciences rather than relying exclusively on church rules.
Pope Francis put the exhortation under the light of this guiding sentence. It's a question of integrating everybody.
On the issue of contraception, Francis stressed that a couple's individual conscience should play a role. He also called for new language to help families cope with today's problems, saying pastors must take into account mitigating factors in counseling Catholics who aren't perfect.
The Pope says, quote, nobody can be condemned forever.
The message continues Francis' efforts to broaden the church's base of devotees. In an interview last year, he warned against marginalizing gays and lesbians. Francis made no explicit change to church doctrine, however, upholding the church's opposition to same-sex marriage.
Many people were hoping that the Pope would somehow change doctrine, but Pope Francis understands himself as the Pope. He's Catholic. The Pope is very interested in families or couples who never get married at all, and couples who don't have children. And he sees this as a real problem in society, the demographic implosion, and the need for this openness of generosity to life.
He addressed the issue of those who divorce and remarry. Pope Francis writing, quote, "We have been called to form consciences, not replace them." Robert Bumstead, Associated Press.
California lawmakers are refusing to deliver a package of 6 anti-tobacco bills to Governor Brown's desk for his consideration. Once signed, the bills would increase the legal tobacco purchasing age from 18 to 21, regulate e-cigarettes, and further restrict smoking in school zones. It's been nearly a month since the bills left the Assembly and Senate floors. Tobacco companies have threatened to launch a signature-gathering referendum effort against them if they're signed. Lawmakers have declined to comment on why the bills are being held. Starting today, California women who want to use hormonal birth control won't need a prescription to get it. A new protocol is now in effect. The State Board of Pharmacy says it's not exactly over-the-counter birth control. Women would have to complete a questionnaire and consult with a pharmacist. And the new rules call for special training for pharmacists to provide the service. The Pharmacy Board says the change will lead to increased access to birth control for women throughout California. From flooding to forest fires, California is rife with natural disasters, and some Californians are at a higher risk due to their disabilities. State officials are working on a plan to equip the developmentally disabled, the elderly, and small children with a way to tell emergency first responders whether they are safely out of their homes or if they still need help. Jonathan Underland reports.
Debbie lives with severe disabilities. Just leaving her home is an ordeal. The idea of needing to leave quickly during an emergency can be daunting.
It's important to have a plan for a quick evacuation to a safe place.
Debbie lives in a floodplain just outside of the capital city of Sacramento. Disaster experts are giving people like Debbie safety kits, which include special cards that people can place on their doorknobs and a plastic bag for storing important documents in a safe but unlikely place, the refrigerator.
The service coordinator will bring these kits to meetings with the individuals that they serve and will walk them through, most likely in their natural environment, in their home, how to utilize the kit and how to prepare for disasters.
Safety experts are working to help people like Debbie form an emergency escape plan that will let first responders know whether they're safely out of their homes or if they need help.
It's about preserving resources. If they don't have to go to a door because they know someone is safely out, that's a good thing because those resources can be utilized elsewhere.
This new safety program is giving people like Debbie a peace of mind, knowing that one day it might mean the difference between life and death. At the state capitol, Jonathan Underland reporting.
Engineers and safety advocates want the government to tap the brakes a bit on self-driving cars. They say the vehicles just aren't ready for the road. They were speaking at a meeting held today by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. The agency has a July target for guidelines on deploying those vehicles, but critics want them to slow down, saying there's still unsolved technical issues. And even a trade group for automakers is urging the government to proceed with caution. The last time Sandag approved a transportation plan, environmentalists panned it. The San Diego Regional Planning Agency was then sued for not doing enough to curb greenhouse gas emissions. So when it was time to vote last fall on its next transportation plan, Sandag prepared for a fight. KPBS reporter Claire Trageser explains the PR campaign the public agency crafted.
If you live in the county of San Diego, you know it's a special place.
This highly produced video describes Sandag's regional transportation plan. It's one of the many media elements the agency created.
We love San Diego. We take pride in it, and justifiably so. But we also want to make it even better.
The video identifies the narrator Colleen Windsor as the director of Sandag, but she's actually its director of communications.
I think the main objective of the media plan for the regional plan was to educate the public.
But Sandag was doing more than just putting out information. It spent $500,000 on outside media consultants. That's on top of $1 million a year in salaries for 12 communications staff. One PR firm laid out a detailed media plan for Sandag to follow. The message to spread, despite what environmental groups say, the $200 billion transportation blueprint balances roads and public transit spending. Emails from Sandag staffers show they were preparing to bat down critics questioning the transportation plan on social media. Here's what communications manager David Hicks wrote in mid-September. We will be carefully monitoring conversations that are going on via social media regarding the regional plan. We will keep our messages very positive. We won't get into extensive, negative, back and forth conversations. Sandag staffer Joy DeCourt works for Windsor and Hicks. She spent 1 to 5 hours a week monitoring social media. She then sent agency employees tweets and Facebook posts that referenced Sandag so they could weigh in on responses. Sometimes it would take days and multiple emails before a response was settled on. Here's one example. In early October, Twitter user TransitSD posted several negative things about Sandag. Not sure how to respond to that barrage. Your thoughts on that? Hicks wrote. I'm not sure Twitter is the best place to respond to these, DeCourt replied. Maybe if we took the whole day and replied to every single tweet. But they would probably all have to be cleared through legal, Hicks wrote back. Windsor says social media is another way to communicate.
If somebody's talking about the regional plan, we certainly want to jump in and let that conversation continue and inform, especially if there's misinformation.
Sandag's staff also wrote an editorial and had it published in several different community newspapers under different names.
We intentionally went after those community newspapers so we could talk to individual communities to let them know what was in the regional plan.
But most of the editorial was exactly the same in each newspaper. For example, it was published in Chula Vista's The Star News and signed by Mayor Mary Salas and a local business leader. It also ran in Voice of San Diego, the Mission Times-Courier, the Del Mar Times, and San Diego Uptown News. Each editorial was written by Sandag's staff, but signed by elected officials. Emails show Sandag's staff hoped to have City Councilman Todd Gloria sign, but he wouldn't cooperate. He's on Sandag's board. Sandag did use Gloria in other ways to spread its message. Emails show Gloria's staff forwarded reporters' questions to Sandag, who wrote up answers and sent them back. Here's what Gloria's spokeswoman Katie Keach said about Sandag's written answers to one set of questions. They seem a bit more defensive in tone than TG needs to be, in my opinion. If you agree and TG wants written responses, I'll rework them a bit to make them more Todd-esque. TG means Todd Gloria. In response to another request, Keach wrote a comment and checked it first with Sandag. Sandag's Windsor wrote back, "I vetted your response and it sounds great." She made one minor correction and then wrote, "If you add that, it's good to go." Sandag's media campaign is not unique in the world of government, says Bailing Shah. She's the director of San Diego State's School of Journalism and Media Studies.
People have a choice. They can not know what their government is doing, or they can fund the government to do the work of the people, but also inform the people about what work is being done.
But she says there's a tension between putting out information and trying to persuade the public.
Whether something is informative and whether something is persuasive oftentimes depends on one's point of view.
Sandag's transportation plan passed unanimously. Now it's weighing whether to ask voters to pass a sales tax increase to pay for transit options. It seems likely the agency will again spend taxpayer dollars on its message. Claire Tregesser, KPBS News.
You can see more of the details, including documents referenced in this story, at kpbs.org/Sandag.
The Inspector General's report on wait times for mental health patients at the San Diego VA is damning. JMI Realty has big ideas on what to do with the Qualcomm site, and a local company is subpoenaed by Congress over the issue of fetal tissue research. Join us for the KPBS Roundtable tonight at 8:30.
3, 2, 1. Engine ignition. Liftoff of the Falcon 9 rocket with science for today and for deep space exploration tomorrow.
Southern California's SpaceX is back in the delivery business today, launching a rocket loaded with supplies for the International Space Station. It's their first delivery in a year after an accident last June. And there was another first. The rocket's 15-story booster was landed on an ocean platform instead of being allowed to drop into the Atlantic like leftover junk. The company hopes to reuse parts to save money. It was a little bit drier around San Diego today, but the rain's not quite over yet. KPBS weather reporter Steph Davis has the forecast.
Happy Friday, everyone, and it's been a soggy wrap up to the work and school week across Southern California. Satellite and radar showing a fairly active weather pattern with clouds and showers. You'll notice these yellows firing up across parts of Southern California and Nevada. Those are indicators of locally heavy downpours. Now, this rain will continue to shift away from the region as we head into tonight. Still some lingering clouds and showers during the evening, though as we get throughout the overnight hours, we'll dry things out under mostly cloudy skies. And that will be the case tonight in Borrego Springs. Cloudy skies with an overnight low of 55 degrees. We'll catch a quick break in the rain in Mount Laguna tonight as temperatures tumble back to the mid-30s. 47 tonight in Alpine, 50 in Ramona, cloudy and 53 in Oceanside, and we'll dry things out as we head throughout the overnight hours in San Diego itself with an overnight low in the city of 60 degrees. Now looking ahead to our Saturday as we kick off the weekend, still unsettled across much of California and Nevada with another storm system bringing Pacific moisture into the region. So we're going to catch some more wet weather as we look ahead to the day tomorrow. Here's a look at those details along the coast with your 5-day outlook. Rain and even a thunderstorm possible for your Saturday. High temperature 67 degrees. Clouds and spotty showers extending into your Sunday. Your high is 66. More clouds and sun on Monday, and then we'll get those peaks of sunshine to return Tuesday and Wednesday. Daytime highs remain in the mid-60s. Your 5-day outlook inland shows a similar weather pattern, unsettled for Saturday with rain and embedded thunderstorms. High temperature 69 degrees. Spotty clouds and showers lingering into your Sunday, so looking like a soggy weekend for the inland area. Still more clouds than sun. Back to work and school Monday, and then partial sunshine Tuesday and Wednesday with daytime highs in the upper 60s. Your 5-day outlook for the mountain: rain and thunderstorms Saturday. High temperature 49. A little bit of a mixed bag of precipitation on Sunday with rain and snow as daytime highs climb to 47 and overnight lows fall back into the 30s. Showers late day on Monday. Cooler with sun and clouds Tuesday and into the day on Wednesday. 5-day outlook for the desert shows cloudy skies for your Saturday. High temperature 74. Variable clouds on Sunday with a high of 74 degrees. Mostly cloudy on Monday, and then temperatures rebound as we look ahead to Tuesday and Wednesday with daytime highs in the low 80s under mostly sunny skies. Steph Davis, KPBS News.
I'm Judy Woodruff. On the next News Hour, the story of an effort to document war crimes in Syria, as told in the upcoming issue of The New Yorker. That's Monday on the PBS News Hour.
City Heights residents are calling on civic leaders to do something about a dangerous intersection in their neighborhood. Brian Myers of the Media Arts Center San Diego brings us their story.
Even though it is legal to cross, the built environment isn't one as such that will allow people to cross safely. Altadena and El Cajon in the city's own data shows as a very dangerous corridor by the amount of people that have gotten hit. It is a prime location for safety improvements. There's a lot of community support to make this a #1 priority. The money's there, the plans are there, but without having those safety improvements here is another day that the community is at risk.
Necesitamos que pronto, que ya, una solución al problema.
A spokesman for Councilwoman Marty Emerald's office says city traffic engineers have studied and approved a crosswalk for Altadena and El Cajon. The project is funded but has not been scheduled. El Cajon Boulevard is one of the 8 most dangerous corridors in the city, and it's a focus of the city's Vision Zero plan to eliminate pedestrian deaths. The late Junior Seau Sports Foundation has given $250,000 to a program for children with physical disabilities. The Challenged Athletes Foundation is an adaptive surfer program. It'll use the money to buy surfboards and beach wheelchairs, along with coaching and travel grants for surf camps and clinics. The foundation says it would like to see the sport become part of the Paralympic Games. Seau set up the foundation 20 years ago. Since then, it's donated more than $4 million to various programs. Officials from SeaWorld say a pair of olive ridley turtles found comatose on a beach in Oregon are doing well 1 week after being transferred to the park. Named Thunder and Lightning, the turtles belong to an endangered species usually found in warmer tropical waters. The turtles were discovered in December following a pair of big winter storms and given care at the Oregon Coast Aquarium. They were flown to San Diego by the U.S. Coast Guard. The goal is to get them healthy enough to return to the ocean. The San Diego Padres bounced back in a big way today with a big win against the Colorado Rockies in Denver. The final score, 13-6. Today's win breaks a record-setting series of shutouts for the Padres. The team scored its first runs of the season in the fourth inning today. Recapping tonight's top stories, thousands of California State University faculty would receive 10.5% pay raises over 3 years under a tentative agreement. The deal includes professors and instructors at San Diego State and Cal State San Marcos. Some faculty would also be eligible for another 3% boost based on years of service. The deal still needs to be ratified by California Faculty Association members and the CSU Board of Trustees. And the Syrian government has released a San Diego man it held for 4 years. Kevin Patrick Dawes is a freelance photographer who was captured after entering the country in 2012. The U.S. State Department says his release was secured with the help of Czech and Russian officials. Lastly, San Diego has more solar panels than most major American cities. A national survey released today by the nonprofit Environment California ranks San Diego second in the country. The growth is attributed to plummeting solar costs, increasing concerns over global warming, and technological innovation. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thank you for joining us. Have a great evening.